Well set. Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to beautiful Durango, Colorado for this evening's installment of Hawk Tank. We'd first of all like to welcome you all. Second of all, we'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Baird Private Wealth Management, as well as our sponsor down in Farmington at Four Quarters Innovation for all your generous support of Hawk Tank and all of our participants. This evening, installment of the Swan Global Investments Workshape series, we're going to be talking about mentors. And also this is the opportunity for you to request a mentor to help you with your business idea and help you taking that to the next level. So we want to talk about what does it mean to have a mentor? What does it mean to be a mentee? And really the focus tonight is one of those chief goals of Hawk Tank is to help develop your professionalism. Some of the skills that we'll discuss tonight, you'll be using this your entire life, your entire career. And so we're really happy to present these to you. At the conclusion of tonight's event, there'll be some directions on how you can request a mentor, and then we'll hook you up with someone that can assist you with your business idea. I want to start out with this quote. Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. I want to tonight also talk about what mentors are not. Okay, and so we'll talk about the process. We'll talk about what exactly you should have done already for Hawk Tank. We'll talk about how the program works, what's expected of you, of the mentor. We'll talk about certain protocols you should follow. We'll talk about email protocol. So we're really focusing on professionalism, which will set you up to participate in the Hawk Tank mentor program. So first and foremost, if you have not registered to participate in Hawk Tank, please take a second tonight, take a second right now and register. There is no fee. We will be not asking you for money. It is not a commitment really to do anything, okay? But we ask you to register, and the real reason is so we make sure that we keep you in the process, we keep you informed as we progress this year. So, first of all, what is a mentor and what is a mentee? Okay. When we're thinking about a mentor, this is really an advisor, someone who's really going to help you grow. That's the way I want us to really look at a mentor. When we think about sort of mentoring, it's this transferring of information. We have a group of amazing mentors from the Farmington, Durango, and the entire Four Corners area. We're also leveraging the Fort Lewis College Alumni Network. We're also leveraging San Juan College Alumni Network. We're leveraging our regional and local SBDCs. There are a ton of experts out there that want to help you sort of solve your problem and once again, take your idea to the next level. Now, a mentor can just be one-off. Maybe you just have a couple of questions and maybe 1 or 2 hours is sufficient for you. Then this program is for you. Maybe you need someone that to invest a little more time in your idea. And once again, we have that here at the Hawk Tank Mentoring Program. So has anyone had a mentor before? Does anyone have a mentor now? Ethan?
Yeah.
How was it? What was your experience? Okay. Oh, cool. Oh, I got to definitely hit you up. I've always wanted to go there. That's awesome. That's really cool. So what were some of the, do you have any challenges in that? Or how's the relationship sort of worked for you?
Super accessible.
Super accessible.
Don't have one.
Okay, awesome, very cool. We're going to talk about some of these challenges, some of these issues. And we don't do this to scare you, but we do this to really just shed some light on the journey that you might take through this mentor program. So let's talk about some mentees' common complaints. Okay. Which is really, it's interesting because Ethan said one of the highlights of his mentor was her accessibility. Okay? But guess what? That's not the case for all mentors. We see that some mentees feel that they don't get a quick feedback. They feel that they're being bothered, okay? Let's just put these all out there. They talk over my head. They change their mind, maybe conflicting information, doesn't return drafts quickly. This is not abnormal. And actually, this is another opportunity to practice your professionalism skills. And specifically, how do you manage up? How do you prepare that time that you are going to meet with your mentor so you can be as efficient as possible, so they know exactly what you're coming to the table to ask them questions about? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about how do we handle some of these complaints, okay? Guess what? You're not alone. Mentors, here's some mentor feedback. Students call without organizing his, her, or their thoughts. Okay, rambling, not having specific questions. They don't have the skill to do the research they say they're going to do. The mentor expects the mentee to do the work. Okay, the mentor underestimates exactly how much time, let's say, a section of their business plan is going to be. This is the big one. This is one of those things that we're really, when we talk about the process of being a mentee, we will definitely take care of. This notion of refusing or not taking initiative, because that's going to be a key component of this mentoring program. Okay. So what is a good mentoring relationship? And I say this for multiple reasons. One is because these are some goals that we should be striving for. Number two is if we feel this is not occurring, then that's a great time to come talk to myself, Professor Sanders down at San Juan College, Dean Rawlinson. We're here to support you, be mentors also, and help you hopefully get back on track. So how does this work? What are those signals? One is a genuine interest from both parties. I'll tell you this, our mentors are super motivated to assist you and help you, okay? And I know definitely the students here at the Center for Innovation are very motivated. And I know several of you online, personally, and I've spoken to you already, are very motivated. Number two is time to participate. Our mentors have already agreed to at least 1 hour a week if there's a connection made, with the agreement that if necessary, that may increase based on the available time. Having that commitment to respond to each other. Also confidentiality. Our mentors understand that you're working on some ideas that you're very passionate about, that you also want to protect. And so that is something that they take really to heart, this notion of confidentiality and protecting your thoughts, your intellectual property, and things of that nature. Being open and being honest. That's a big one. Listening. It's one of the real challenges we have as human beings, is listening. Okay, the speed in which we talk, the speed that we go through information, guess what? They're not equal. That's a problem. Okay, but it's recognizing that we have to listen, internalize before we speak and act. By you all being at this workshop, you are all extremely self-motivated, and that is really critical. And our mentors, these guides for you, have also been very well motivated. Otherwise, they would have not reached that level in their careers. What is mentoring not? Okay. Mentoring is not a tutor-student relationship. That's not what we're developing here. Okay. It's not a friend. I'm not saying that it couldn't evolve into something like that, or there's not sort of, obviously there's definitely camaraderie or friendship there, but that's not what this is. These mentors are not here to be your friends. They're here to once again, to support you, to guide you, to direct you, to push you. That's what the mentors are there for. And they're also not there to be your personal counselors, okay? Once again, we're focusing on Hawk Tank. We're focusing on what exactly your needs are for your business plan, okay? I want to take us through sort of a flow of being a mentor. And by going through this process, I want to highlight certain protocols and procedures that we'd like you to follow. Personally, I did not receive this information or training till much later in my career than you all. I received this through professional management training. So you're getting a leg up. So let's talk about the process. So number one is, how do we build this relationship? So the process is going to be, is you're going to email me, say, Dr. Valdez, I want a mentor, and then we're going to work out exactly what your specific needs are. We're going to pair you with a mentor, and then now what? Okay, remember, you're taking the lead. If you expect the mentors to reach out to you multiple times to try to set up a meeting, it's not going to happen. I've actually told them not to do that. Okay, so it is upon you, because remember, this is professionalism skills that we're developing, and we want to model the real world as much as possible. So let's talk about it. So number one is, we're going to obviously request a meeting. So you'll get the contact information for the individual and you'll request the meeting. And a big part of this from the get-go is developing this trust, this comfort. Okay. Yes, you are going to have to use small talk. For some of us, that's very anxiety causing. Okay. That's okay. Now's the time to practice this. And if you want to do practice runs with me, we can do Zoom, come to my office in EBH 150 at Fort Lewis College's campus, and we'll do dry runs. That's actually how I learned. Okay. Next, we want to talk about sort of broad, open-ended questions. Because the idea, what we want to do is we want to make connections and show where there's similarities, where there might be some of these growth areas. Okay, that's what we were trying to do in that initial, trying to make those connections. Okay. The next step is negotiating, and really it's the clarifying the expectations. That's the next level. Okay. What are your expectations? Share that. What are the mentor's expectations? Talk about what the specific roles are, what the needs are. Maybe your mentor needs 48 hours notice. Maybe your mentor needs 5 hours notice. I don't know. Talk about that. You know, one of the mentee complaints, oh, they don't respond fast enough. Set that expectation. Maybe your mentor's expectation is 7 days. Maybe your expectation is 8 hours. Think about that misconnect. Think about the anxiety that happens. And it's really no fault of either one of you. You just haven't communicated exactly what your expectations are. When I was an undergrad student, my expectations for a professor to get back to me was 5 days. 5 days. Think about that. Grant, you email me. What's your expectations that I respond to you?
Within like 2 days, somewhere there.
Now, what's your real expectation?
Well, knowing you, but it would be, I would love if it were within 24 hours.
There we go. Okay. Grant saying within 24 hours. I've asked some of my students, they say they expect an answer in like under a couple hours. Think about the anxiety that causes. And if I know that, I can set the expectations and say, hey, listen, it's not going to be 3 hours. It's going to be the 24 hours. That's what we want to do. Please.
Do you appreciate that though? Like if you, like, cause I know like there's different people, like I've emailed you and you've definitely reached out
Sure.
in a few hours.
Sure.
That's great. And I look forward to that. So you're kind of setting the bar for other people, like, oh, I'd love a faster response, but if they're not giving me that, do you appreciate when they say that, like, hey, even if that is not your expectation, like, hey, I want to email like 2 to 3 hours?
Yeah, so this is about managing up, right? You're not going to tell your mentor, I expect you to respond to me in 2 hours, right? You're just not going to do it, right? Because that's just, there's that power distance issue we're dealing with, right? It's a sort of hierarchical thing we're dealing with, right? So here's how we handle that. How do we manage up to figure out what the expectations are? You can ask the question, but not give the parameters. Say, I've worked with a number of individuals. They have different expectations in terms of response time. I'm curious, what are your expectations for me to respond to you? Okay? So now what you're doing is you're couching this by serving your mentor. This is managing up. Because then they're going to tell you it's 24 hours. And then what you can do is say, oh, wow. So I know you're really busy. Is that sort of the same expectations that I should consider? Or are you going to need a couple extra days? You've just done it. And how cool is that? They've sort of had the control and you're really sort of, once again, you're managing up. Does that make sense? It totally works. Okay. And let's say this. Let's say your mentor says it's 24 hours. Okay. Excuse me. Let's say your mentor says 24 hours. What if your mentor does not get back to you in 24 hours? What do you do? What do you do? Yeah, you reach out again. Dear, I'll use Ms. Siggins, the CEO of Stone Age Tools. Dear Ms. Siggins, I just want to follow up on my previous email that I sent to you 24 hours ago, a day and a half ago. I just want to make sure you received it. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I look forward to hearing from you. Done. Done. Okay. Now, let's say it's still another 24 hours. And now say you really need an answer from Ms. Siggins. Then what you would do is you'd reach out to her admin, and that's what I would do. Just say, I'm really sorry to bother you. I've been trying to reach out to Ms. Siggins. As you know, she's my mentor for the Hawk Tank Business Plan Competition. Is everything okay? She's usually really responsive. I haven't heard back from her. That's it. That's all you say. And then what her admin will do is, oh, no, everything's fine. She's in China right now. Doesn't have a lot of access. I'll make sure I tell Ms. Siggins that you've been trying to get a hold of her. Done. Done. That's what we want to do. Okay. You'll talk about the length of commitment. We already know the length of commitment, right? They've agreed to help you through all of Hawk Tank. Now, if you only need help on a couple things, maybe the length of commitment is 2 meetings, 1 meeting. Talk about it. To be determined. Okay, totally fine. Develop an agreement. Doesn't have to be in writing. You're not going to do a contract. You're not going to do a memorandum of understanding. No. But talk about, okay, is an hour a week work for you? What is the hour that works for you? We're going to talk about how do you prep for the meeting? When do you want to receive the agenda? My plan is I'm going to follow up with you in email form, what we discussed, as well as my action items are. We are managing expectations, y'all. Okay. And this is the opportunity for both of you to say what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Because maybe through this clarifying expectations, you find out this is not going to work. That's okay. Actually, that's part of the learning process. And if that's not going to work, then what do? You say, thank you very much. Come back to me and we'll find you another mentor. And I'll reach out to the other mentor and thank them profusely, tell them how thankful we are, and we'll find another mentee for them. Okay? That's what this is about. That's what we're looking to do. Okay. Oops, am I going the wrong way? There we go. Okay. So the mentee development, this is when you're doing, okay? This is when you're getting the assistance. This is when we've sort of set up these protocols. You have your agendas, you have your follow-up. That's what we're looking at, okay? What's going on here? Okay, ending the relationship. You're all gonna end the relationship, right? And typically our ending is, we're hoping, when you're on the stage in the grand ballroom at Fort Lewis College on April 30th, and you're holding up the big check, okay? I understand, that's what we're hoping for. But let me give you just a little more sort of guidance on that, okay? Check in. Obviously, you're gonna thank them. Of course you are. But check in. Thank them. Come by my office and pick up a really cool Hot Tank thank you card. Write them a handwritten note and mail it to them. Those small touches are what endear you to individuals, okay? Because a relationship may not end there. It may not. I know of many mentors that are still in touch with their Hawk Tank teams. I know many Hawk Tank participants that still reach out to their Hawk Tank mentors and ask for guidance. Really cool, okay? Okay. Any questions on that, y'all? Great questions so far. Anything in the chat, Preston? Awesome. Now, the one question I want to ask you though, or there's a number of questions I want to ask you that's under this is, are you mentorable? And you really, I want you to answer this because people will be investing a lot of time with you. Okay, they're ready. But I need you to ask these questions. Are you willing to listen to your mentor? Are you willing to take ownership of their wisdom? So when they share with you that yes, you are going to internalize it. Yes, you are going to look to see how it fits within your Hawk Tank business plan. Will you examine yourself? Trust yourself. You all are amazing. You have so much to offer. And this is really the opportunity to see it shine. And then lastly, are you going to use this information? Because that is a critical part of this mentor-mentee relationship. When we talked about that closure, they want to see your growth. They want to see how their knowledge contributed to your success. Okay? So ask these questions. Because we want to have yeses here, because it's going to help you as you progress. Okay. So what is your role with the mentor? Let's talk about this. Oops. Okay. One, like I said, it is to maintain contact. You are the initiator. Okay. Really important. I want you to communicate your needs. You're going to do that through an agenda. If you need help with that, how to draft an agenda, please come to me. It's just really bullet points on what you want to cover and what you hope to achieve. Okay. Believe it or not, your role is to be a charmer. Okay. I know it's a little cheesy. Okay. I kept looking for another word for it. I promise I did. I didn't feel comfortable putting that up there at a certain level, but really that's what you're trying to be. Okay. Read the nonverbal cues. I've gone to a mentor meeting. Your mentor is, my mentor was just like not focused, constantly looking at their phone, looking at their computer. Okay. What do you do? Ms. Jones, would you like to reschedule this meeting? It's not a problem. If you have other work to do, I totally understand. We can schedule another time next week. We can schedule another time today. But be really aware of that and practice your EI skills, your emotion intelligence skills, trying to read the body language. Okay. This is a big one. This notion of setting a positive environment, being friendly. That's a big part of it. Science shows that individuals, human beings, like being with positive people. Use the science. Use the psychological research out there. Not only do I want you to be able to show initiative, which you all will, and you already are by participating in Hawk Tank, but we need to practice to be able to take the criticism. Okay. And that is a really important skill. Not to take it personal, to leverage those things that are going to add value to your business plan, to your business. Okay. Being organized. When I take you through this process is really highlighting your organizational skills and also making sure that that hour you have with your mentor every single week is maximized. Okay. That's why we do all this prep work. That's why we do all this follow-up work. It's because you're only going to have 60 minutes. And this mirrors a lot that's going to happen in your professional life. You're going to have maybe like once a month meeting with your big boss, 60 minutes. And you better be laser focused for her, because that's all you get. So that's what we want to really model. Okay. Now, when I talk to the mentors, I'm going to show you a little bit what I'm going to show them. So I use this word really loosely, y'all, is I coach the mentors also. I share with them all this information so they know what my personal expectations are, what the mentoring program's personal expectations are, so they're in sync. Okay? So we're in sync. So everything that I'm sharing with you, I share with them. And now, sort of the role of the mentor, I go a little bit deeper. Okay? That's really more mentor specific. But really, when we're talking about mentoring, it's really we want them to, of course, guide you. We want them to model professional behavior. We want them to be honest about your progress. Okay. They want you to sort of work independently. Okay. This is hopefully what your mentor is going to help you facilitate. Okay. But we're going to guide you to get you to this point. Ideal mentee. Oops. Okay. Do not just show up at your mentor's door unannounced, unless they said it's okay. If they say it's okay, then of course it's cool. But otherwise, don't just show up at their office and knock on their door. Okay. And once again, I'm not saying they wouldn't accept, have you come in. I'm not saying they wouldn't help you. But once again, we are practicing our professionalism skills. Okay. We want you to call. I mean, really what we're going to do is we're going to do an email is when we set up our meeting. Okay. But if your mentor says they prefer a call, they prefer a text, great. Okay. And remember, those initial meetings is when you're going to my recommendation is set up all your meetings for all of Hawk Tank. It does not mean you have to have all the meetings. All it means is that you all block off the same time. That's what we're looking for. Because let's say you have nothing to discuss that week, great. You get an hour back. Your mentor gets an hour back. But we still want to practice that. Okay. Now, keep every appointment. I do recognize that that is not always 100% possible. And if you have to cancel early. Because these men and women and individuals that are volunteering their time, they're putting their professional life on hold for you. They're putting their personal life on hold for you. They're canceling meetings for you. They're rescheduling meetings for you. They may be getting help with their children for you. And we want to respect them for that. Why? Because that's what you're going to want to when you all become mentors. And that is proper. Okay. Come to the meetings on time. This is a big one, y'all. I've seen individuals lose deals over this. I've seen individuals lose jobs over this. And when I say come on time, I mean on time. I don't mean early. I want you to arrive early, and then I want you to hang out until you're like 1 or 2 minutes early, and then you go. That's being respectful. I don't know if this ever happened to you where you're throwing a party and someone comes like an hour early, 30 minutes early, right? You're like freaked out. You're like, I'm not ready for you. We need to assume that your mentor has other things prior before you're coming, okay? What else? Pace the conversation. As you progress more in your professional career, these 60-minute blocks are going to become like second nature to you. You're just going to have like this sixth sense that 60 minutes is up, because in sort of business protocol, that's the block we get for meetings, is 60 minutes typically, really. And practice. And if you start going over 60 minutes or getting near, then guess what? Offer to end the meeting on time and come back if necessary. Your mentor most likely will say, no, I have 15 or 20 minutes. But once again, exhibit that professionalism and say, I respect your time. This is what we negotiated, and we're going to stick to that. That's a big one. Once again, read your mentor. Practice your EI skills. If you see your mentor being a little impatient, not only sort of voice, but also that body language. I can reschedule, no problem. I can reschedule, okay? You're going to practice a lot of managing up. What do you do if you only have 60 minutes and your mentor wants to keep talking? Keep sharing advice. To the best of your ability, stay there. Now, if it starts progressing where look, you're going to start missing appointments, missing classes, missing engagements, then of course you can politely say you have to leave. But most likely that's not going to be an issue, but just practice that. Listen, listen, listen. This is a big challenge for all of us, myself included. My trick is I take notes while people are talking, so I don't have to interrupt them. If maybe they're saying something that I don't agree with, I don't have to interrupt them if I have a question. And then once they're finished, I can go and ask the questions. I can do some follow-up. Now, this is mentor specific. This is your starting point, okay? I tell my mentees, my students, they can interrupt me. But that's just me. The typical protocol is you would just listen, take notes, and then you'd go through them when your mentor is done. And I would say most importantly, y'all, come prepared. You will. If you follow these protocols, these procedures, you're going to come really prepared. But don't waste these individuals' time. If you're not prepared, cancel. Cancel. I give the mentor the opportunity to say the relationship's not working. Just like I give all of you as mentees the opportunity to say the relationship's not working. That's a critical component of this working. Remember, you have to have commitment from both sides, okay? Okay. Now, how does this work? What's the next step? How do I get a mentor, Dr. Valdez? Professor Sanders, down in San Juan College. Mentees, email me at mevaldez@fortlewis.edu. Tell me that you want to be a part of the Hawk Tank Mentor Program. That's the starting point. Well, really, the starting point is registering. You need to register, and then we'll hook you up with a mentor, okay? Registering takes like 30 seconds, y'all. Next, I will send you a form asking you questions about your business idea. If your business idea you feel is not shaped enough to fill out that form, let's jump on Zoom. Let's jump on a call. I will help you complete that form. Not a problem. It'll be a pleasure. Next is I will make, and other individuals will start making these connections. We will come up with 1 or 2 mentors for you, and then we will send you the contact information for these individuals. You will then create a professional email. Once again, I am here to help you with that. If you're one of my former students, you already know how to do this. And we'll also go over a little bit of email protocol tonight, just to make sure we go over that. Next is, before every single time you meet with your mentor, I want you to send them a short agenda on what you want to cover. Okay? So for that first meeting, it's going to be introductions. It's going to be expectations. It's going to be needs. It's going to be goodbye, right? 60 minutes. That's all we get. Okay. You'll send that to your mentor. You'll discuss the needs. If everyone agrees, then you're off to the races. Okay? That is going to be the process and the procedure of being assigned a mentor or mentors. Any question, y'all? Okay, cool. Now, who are the mentors? This is just one short list. I know I've mentioned them before, but we have so many individuals that are waiting to assist you. And we all went over these already, just to give you an example. Now, why are they important? Well, they're very important to me. Because like I've said from day one of Hawk Tank takes a village. It takes a community. I'm just the individual that stands in front of the camera and sends emails. That's all I am. And I'm also here to guide you and help you when you ask. But really, it's the mentors. It's the judges. It's the entire business community. And this is for-profit, nonprofit. That's who's supporting you all. Okay. And also, I hope they do give you energy. I hope they sort of motivate you. And these are the contacts and the networks, especially if you're going to be staying or you're from the Four Corners area, to leverage you to make your dreams come true. And then, yes, they're critical partners of Hawk Tank. Many of these individuals have been here for 7 years. Okay. So what's the protocol? Schedule your meetings well in advance. My recommendation is schedule all the meetings if you can for the entire Hawk Tank. If you don't have to do that, so don't stress. But if you can, I think that's a really good model to follow. Send the agenda or any supplemental information. I like 2 to 3 days if you can do it. Your mentor may say that's not necessary. Your mentor may say it's 24 hours, that's fine. But really, send any information you want to go over. Because it's more than just in the mentor's best interest. It's also in yours as the mentee's best interest. Let me give you an example. Let's say one of the things you'd like or need is you need some data. Well, why not tell your mentor specifically what you need ahead of time so they can get it for you? So you don't have to wait till after the meeting to get that information if it's readily available. Just think about the power of that meeting, having that information and providing that insight. So that's what we want to do. I'll share with you some email protocol. My recommendation is to wear business casual if you have it. And this is more just to practice. Your mentor is not going to treat you any differently because of the clothes you wear. Okay? And if they do, they will no longer be a Hawk Tank mentor. Okay? It's that simple. It is that black and white. However, I truly encourage you to model this behavior if you can. If you need help with clothes, I've gone to stores with students and we can get you clothes. Really. If you need help to figure out how do I buy professional clothes and not spend a whole bunch of money, I am an eBay and thrift store master. Okay? There's a lot of laughs here, but I'm serious. I mean, we can go through my clothes. I guarantee you, I spent retail, nothing I own. Okay. Come to me. I know that sounds corny. I know it's cheesy, but man, it's an important skill. I had people train me and help me. Okay. I mean, they didn't do a very good job. Okay. I'll give you that. But of course, right? There's some laughs. Good. Now, during the meeting, see the ideal see the ideal mentor, ideal mentee. That's what I want you to do. Okay. Lastly, post meeting. This is gold, you all. You want to wow someone? You want to wow a customer? You want to wow a boss? And do you want to make sure you leverage as much as possible from your mentor? This last step is the gold. After every single meeting, my recommendation is you send an email to your mentor summarizing, once again, just bullet points, right? Dear Ms. Siggins, thank you so much for meeting me on Friday. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for going over bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. I look forward to our next meeting. Restate the time, restate the day, restate how, and I will have prepared for you our discussion, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. If you have any questions or concerns, comma, please email me, period. Best wishes, your name. That is rock solid. Please.
Like after you meet with somebody,
Yeah.
Summarize the meeting in an email.
Totally. Summarize what you sort of received, because what if you missed something? That gives Ms. Siggin or her office an opportunity to get back to you what you maybe missed. And then what you do is you put your action items on what you want to achieve next time, because this is what you're doing. You're priming the pump. Okay. You know exactly what you're going to prepare, what you're going to submit to Ms. Siggins before the next meeting. It's fresh in your mind. It also primes in the sense that if Ms. Siggins needs to get more information for you, or maybe she has an idea on how to help you, it gives her time to actually do that too. That's a big one, y'all. Okay, cool. So what is professionalism? You know, what does it mean? It means a lot of things, you know, and some of these are definitely cultural specific. That's one thing that we have to recognize. Okay. Doing this here, we can go macro and say doing it in the US is definitely different than doing it in Japan. Definitely different than doing it in the Middle East. Definitely different than doing it in Africa. So we're going over here are just some of the US cultural norms. Okay. And this may differ by region also. This may differ by industry. Okay. So that's my little caveat. But these are just some general recommendations. So one is how you communicate. It is making eye contact. And once again, that's way cultural specific. For some of our participants, that may not be familiar with you. That may not be what you're used to. This is a great opportunity to practice it. Once again, if you need some help, you want to practice on me first, we can definitely do that, okay? It is a dress code at a certain level, right? I mean, there are some things that I definitely know, I would say don't wear, right? I mean, if Grant wants to wear cutoff blue jeans to his mentor meeting the first time he meets them, I'm going to say, Grant, I don't think that's appropriate, right? He wants to wear a swimsuit and he wants to wear a tank top. Do you even sell tank tops anymore? I don't even know. But like, I mean, Grant, that's not appropriate. It does not mean he needs to be in a suit. It does not mean he needs to dress like this. Okay? But it's being mindful of how you present yourself. My guidelines for you all in responding to your mentor is 24 hours. If your mentor emails you, contacts you, I want you to respond to them in 24 hours. Now, let's say you don't have an answer for them. Then what I want you to do within that 24 hours is tell them and communicate that. Say, I don't have an answer for you right now. I'm totally working on it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll get back to you in 2 days. Oh, I just got dropped a huge project at school or at work. I'm going to need 48 hours. That's totally fine. That's modeling and communicating like we want. Check your grammar and spelling. Check it. I just read this article on how Google gets rid of, I forget what the percentage is. It's like thousands of applicants, hundreds of thousands. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Spelling and grammar. That's their first swipe. Don't make it easy for them. Okay? Don't make it easy. Now, this might be a growth area for some of us, myself included. I have proofreaders. Look, I'll totally share with you. If I have something really, really important, I'll get my mom out of retirement and have her read it. I'm serious. Because we are not perfect. We are not human. We have faults. We have growth areas. And what's really cool is that we have access not only to the online material, not only to our own network, but we have access to professional writing centers as Fort Lewis College and San Juan College students. And if you're from Durango High School, come on up. We'll do that too. Or any high school for that matter. We just have some Durango High School in the house. So that's what we want to leverage. And also we have the Center for Innovation as a resource for all participants. You want to meet with your mentor? Center for Innovation. You want to make phone calls or do some marketing stuff? Center of Innovation. Okay. At the end, I'll give you a couple other places to help you too. Okay. Cool. So, what does an agenda look like? What are some things you'll put on it? Here's some recommendations for you. Number one is you can put the attendees' names. It'll be, you don't have to because there's only going to be 2 of you, and so that's kind of goes without saying, but you can practice it. We definitely want to put the time and location, and that's a control. That's what that is. Because what if you got it wrong? What if you don't actually have the right time or location? Well, that's actually an opportunity for your mentor to tell you, hey, guess what, Ellie? That's not the right place. Okay, that's why we do it. Talk about what is the objective of the meeting. You know, I gave you those 4 examples about your first one. Set it out. What are the specific discussion topics? I need to figure out what the number of people that might be willing to buy my product in the Four Corners area. I don't know how to do it. Maybe that's it. Those types of questions, okay? Talk about the data you want to discuss. Talk about the work, because maybe your mentor has to go get information for you. Give them the opportunity to do it. Give them the opportunity. And then once again is really shoot for that 2 to 3 days heads up. Because what that shows is intentionality. That shows that you're really super motivated. That shows that you're initiating it. It shows that, guess what? You're prepared. That's really, really what we're striving for. In terms of receiving feedback, these are just some ideas. Listen, okay? And this is a hard one. I think this is a hard one for just because of human nature, this idea of not being defensive. And I understand where this manifests itself. It manifests itself because when you're sharing this stuff with your mentor, you're kind of exposing a part of you, right? You really are. You're exposing your creativity. You're exposing your passion. You're exposing your love for something. And that's powerful. And so if you get some negative feedback, it hurts. Okay, it hurts. What we want to do is we want to take it in, we want to reflect on it, and then we want to respond. And this is, once again, this is where we want to learn this stuff. This is where we want to practice this stuff. Okay. Seek clarification. Don't just sit there and nod your head and feel that you can't ask questions. If you don't understand a word, ask. You don't understand a concept, ask. If you're totally lost, say, I'm lost. I'm really sorry. Do you mind going over it again? Do you mind giving me some reading? I'll read up so I'm more prepared. I'm sorry. Be humble, okay? Your mentors have a lot of experience. And one of the cool things is you bring a lot of out of the box thinking, but so do they. Some of them bring 30 to 40 years of experience. They've transformed the same organization multiple times. Okay, so leverage that. And this is this last one is, and this is for all of us, is we're all human. We all make mistakes. And some of these mentors are learning too. Okay, some of these mentors are learning too. This may be the first time they've ever mentored in this type of environment. Okay. Okay, cool. Any questions? Okay. We're kind of going to end on this one a little bit. And there's some ground rules here, y'all. Okay, there are ground rules. And if you break them, yeah, I mean, I'll stop the mentor relationship. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, okay? One is you need to meet in a public place. If your mentor says, hey, come to my house, my office is there, the answer is no. And I don't say that because I have any fear for your safety, but I do that because I want you to model how I want you to do this in your professional life. That's why I do this, okay? And like I said before, we have the Center for Innovation for you. We have the SBDC down at San Juan College. Our SBDC is located in the Center of Innovation, so you'll have that resource here in Durango. Okay, we all got that. That's a big one. Okay, number two, and this is just good practice, especially in the early days when you're meeting your mentor. Once again, your mentors have been vetted. Okay, I have no fear. Okay, I don't have any anxiety, but I want you to practice safe behavior. So if you're going to go meet your mentor for that first time, tell your roommate, okay, tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your partner, tell someone, okay? Hey, I'm going to go meet my mentor for the first time. I can't wait. Doesn't have to be negative. Like, I'm going to go meet my mentor. I don't know. It might be a creep, right? No, I don't mean that. Okay. Okay. At any point of your conversation, if you feel uncomfortable, weird, awkward, leave. Trust your gut. Okay? I don't foresee that happening. But once again, it's black and white. You feel uncomfortable, your gut's telling you that, trust it, leave. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I got an emergency. See you later. Boom, gone. Okay? And then you go call me right away, of course, or you email me right away. We talk. We good? Okay, cool. And lots of conference room options. Email protocol. This is another area where you can really differentiate yourself. Really differentiate yourself. Emails are your professional communication. Emails are your personal communication, your friend communication, your family. And guess what? We write our emails according to our audience. Okay. I'll give you some examples here. What I mean by being professionalism. Check your proofread, proofread. Okay. 24 hours. Looks familiar, huh? I want you to respond in 24 hours. That's what we're looking for. This is an interesting recommendation. This came actually from the president of Seton Hall University to me. Because I was typing an email to the president of Seton Hall University when I was a professor there, and I hit the send button too early. And he walked around campus to teach me how to write emails. I'm not exaggerating. Seriously. And he's like, Michael, this is a lesson someone taught me once, and I want to share with you. You should write your entire email, and when you're done and you've proofread everything, then you put your to-do or your to on there, who you're going to send it to, and then send it to them. I don't follow it that often, but it's a great advice. Okay, great advice. If you have a team, anytime you communicate with your team or anyone about Hawk Tank, CC them. Don't play the what do they call that? They call it the coconut wire game in Hawaii, but they call it the, what is it? The telephone game. Thank you. Gosh. Anyway, yeah, you don't want that, right? Definitely use a subject line. Why? Because if you don't use if you send an email to me and you do not use a subject line, I do not get it. Why? Because my spam filter assumes it's spam and it gets rid of it. And I would say the vast majority of corporate servers do the exact same thing. So be mindful of that. If necessary, identify who you are. Especially your first email. Dear Ms. Jones, my name is Grant. I'm participating in the Hawk Tank Business Plan competition. I'm really excited to work with you. Dear Frank, my name is Ellie. I met you last night at the mixer at the Center for Innovation. We got to talk about my really cool idea about this nonprofit. Starts triggering, okay? That's what we want to do. Limit your attachments, y'all. Limit it. Don't do the shock and awe where you send your mentor 20 attachments and say, okay, I need this reviewed in 48 hours so we can prepare. May not happen, okay? And I'm gonna show you some signature blocks, okay. Okay, some manners. This is not a text message, okay? No emoticons, no exclamation points, or not lots of them at least. All caps, that's screaming, avoid it, okay? As many of you know, I love this word of please. My emails are riddled with that word. Okay? Please and thank you. Use it all the time. Okay? Be formal. Practice it. I've said this before. Business is formal. I don't care what industry you're in, especially the higher you get up. Practice it. Learn what their salutation is. And guess what? If they don't want to be called doctor, they don't want to be called Ms., because I could totally understand not wanting to be called that. They'll tell you, no, please call me by my first name, right? Today, a participant here is like, oh, do I call you Dr. Valdez? Do I call you Michael? My answer is, you call me Dr. and Professor Valdez until you graduate, and then I'm Michael. Why? Because we're modeling professionalism. I'm a business professor, for goodness sakes, right? I'm a really informal person, but not when we're in this environment. We have to wear different hats. We speak differently depending on where we are. How you speak at home is not most likely how you're going to speak, let's say, in a conference room. You need to be multilingual in that way. There's a lot of power from that. Okay? Be really cautious about reply alls, y'all. Be really cautious. If you don't have to do a reply all, you only need to reply to that person, you can do that. I still want you to CC your team. But if there's like a huge laundry list of people and you don't need to include them, get the people off, okay? I had some students ask about BCC, blind carbon copy. They asked, well, can I just BC my teammates instead of CC? My answer is no. And the reason why is I want my sender to know 99.9999% of the time who else is on the email. Because I'm not really psyched if I get emails and there are 30 other people receiving it and I don't know it. Okay. And that's just being sort of, I mean, there are times to do it without a doubt, but I would just stick with the CC. Okay. Is what my recommendation is. Please.
That's something that I don't have too much experience with, is BCC versus CC. The
Sure.
times that I've used BCC has been like when a mentor that I know has put me in touch with the connection.
Sure.
And we're all on one email chain.
Sure.
And then once we introduce each other, we move the mentor to BCC.
Yeah, that could totally work. But once again, you already have that agreement.
So what are some other circumstances?
So I use BCC for let's say for invitations to here, for example. You may not know this. Take a look at it next time. So what I do is I put BCC for all the participants, and then I send it to myself. And here's why. Because number one is I'll have a list under, I'll have that copy of that email under my sent. I'll see that I sent it and I'll see it's BCC. I then get a copy where I just file it out just so I know I did it. And that's just a control for me, right? You don't really necessarily have to do that, right? So that's one way. Another way I kind of do it, and they're for the same reasons. That's why I'll tell you the reason after I do this next one. Let's say we have, typically in a non-COVID year, we have a huge kickoff party. It's like one of my favorite things in the year, definitely top 10. When I send out those, some of those people that I'm inviting, I have their personal email addresses. These are people that, you know, they're really cautious about who they share their personal information with for various reasons. Some of it's safety reasons. So that's another way I use it. So if you get like an invitation to the kickoff event, it's all BCC. And once again, the reason why is I want to protect their private information. Okay. Now, there are other instances why we do this also in the workforce. You know, we won't go down this path. Let's, you know, this is just, once again, we're getting a little bit off topic. This is not, I don't think, relevant for Hawk Tank for sure. Is, let's say you have a really difficult client and the client is saying things that your behavior is a certain way and it's not. And you're looking for ways to keep your boss informed and in the loop. That would be another example of where you'd BCC it. To your boss, correct, right? And so what you're doing now is your boss is constantly part of that communication, but the customer doesn't know. Okay, that really is. But otherwise, because here's what happens, and I've seen this happen. You BCC someone, and then they reply to the email. Think about the fireworks that happens. Why was they on, what? Why were they on that email? You don't trust me? What's going on in the background, right? That's a huge signal of distrust. So you gotta be really careful. Okay, that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, so
BCC, I think I'm BCC people, but I thought it was just to where, so like BCC is where you're sending the same email in mass, but nobody else knows.
So yeah, that's how I use it.
okay, so you'd rather
How
have
does that instead of?
No. For here, you're just gonna BCC. You're just gonna carbon copy people, right? Because really, like, let's say you're going individually, you're probably not gonna CC anyone, right? If you're a team of one, you're probably not even gonna use CC, right? Because you're just gonna be communicating with your mentor in this relationship, right? But let's say, you know, so how I use BCC is two ways, right? One is exactly like you're talking about, is that I don't want to share personal information, and so I use it that way. So no one knows who's receiving it, right? The second way is that I use it if I need to keep someone in the loop for some reason, be it a safety reason, because of some other reason, and I don't want the recipient to know that they're actually receiving. But if I ever do that, I guarantee you, I go to the recipient and say, hey, I'm BCCing you. Please do not respond to this email.
what happens if they respond?
Your recipient finds out that they were on an email without them knowing.
Okay, so it'll, like, that's if they reply all?
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's a-
then CC is different. I'm just not.
It's awesome. No, so I send an email and I BCC Ellie. You have no idea. All you see is from Dr. Valdez, my email address, and you have no idea Ellie's on there. Okay. Now, I email you, I CC Ellie. You see Ellie's name. You're like, oh, Ellie's on this. Cool. That's the difference. Carbon copy, blind carbon copy. This is super old school, right? I mean, this is like even before my generation.
So if we're on a team, we should CC instead of. BCC.
Correct. Because you want to show your mentor you're all communicating, right? You want to show your stakeholders you're all in the loop, right? So that's definitely what I recommend. Cool. Okay, awesome. Okay, so being concise, get to the point, use bullet points, y'all. Use them. Have an introductory sentence, have a closing sentence, but you can have lots of content and bullet points. Totally. Your mentor's probably going to appreciate that. They don't have to sort of weed through all this information. Okay. This idea of providing action, tell your reader what you want. Do you want a response? Do you want them to be prepared for the meeting? Do you need information ahead of the meeting? Give them some type of call to action. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Cool. Okay. Okay. Professional. Avoid abbreviations, especially when you're getting into your areas of interest, because maybe your mentor does not have that real depth in the knowledge on your specific industry. So you're gonna have to spell it out to them. Okay. Like I said, emoticons are not for professional emails. I think I've used emoticon with Dr. Clay at Fort Lewis College, maybe like 3 times. And he's like one of my closest friends. I've known him for 8 years. I still put Dear Paul, okay? That's how conditioned I am. Really, I'm conditioned. I totally am. I own that. Be careful of personalized emails, y'all. Okay? I'm serious. Like really serious. I won't even go over that because it's kind of offensive, but really. And I've seen even worse. I really have. Okay, there's some laughs here for sure. I have. So be careful. Okay, anyway. Now this is really old school. Okay. Once again, this is my sort of personal sort of recommendations. Okay. Be consistent in terms of capitalization. That's just normal grammar. Okay. Skip lines between paragraphs. Don't just block everything together. Don't use crazy fancy fonts. Don't use crazy patterns on your emails. Definitely do it for your friends for sure. It's super cool. It's fun. But that's not the communication norm for what we're sort of doing here. I mean, I'm so hardcore. I don't even use contractions on business stuff, right? Like, I mean, really, I truly am. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's just where I land. Okay. I just don't even use contraction. I'm really formal. And then of course, as my relationship evolves, then I kind of let down those guards a little bit. But my personal emails, of course, man, I'm emoticon just everywhere and exclamation points, totally contractions. Absolutely. It's a different form of communication. If I wrote a business email to my mom, she'd be like, Michael, are you sick? Right? Totally. Embrace it. Okay. Once again, respond promptly. Okay. If you need more time, ask for it. Okay. We talked about that. We talked about that. Don't leave it blank, y'all. You do not want the spam filter to be your nemesis and delete your emails. Okay, cool. We talked about that already. We talked about that. Signature block. This is a really cool thing to start practicing on. Okay. It doesn't have to be crazy long. Okay. It can just be your name. It could be, Durango High School, and then your email address. That's fine. Please.
Actually, sorry, keep going. Maybe I'll ask my question at the end, but I do have a question.
Okay, go for it.
Well, so like, as a student,
Sure.
when I see other students with a signature block,
Sure.
it comes off to be so overbearing.
Sure.
Secondhand embarrassment.
That's awesome.
It's like what you're putting. It's just sometimes it's so crazy the things that you'll see listed under.
Oh, I've seen like 10 things, right?
It's like, what? I don't need your personal email, your telephone, your fax number, your student club, your dorm.
Sure.
So I was just wondering what it comes off to as for established professionals when they see this block that is just a student block.
I love it. So let's talk about this, right? All you've highlighted is you have two different audiences that require two different types of emails that have two different types of communication. That's all you're highlighting, right? Is because I agree with you how that could come off. Now, I think if you're a senior business student, right? I expect that from a senior business student. Why? Because at Fort Lewis College, you're doing a ton of work with local businesses. You're doing a ton of work that you're doing, right? Because that's what we do here. And so you're going to be using your email for a ton of professional emails. I mean, I hope you are, right? So, but this is how I would handle that for you all, right? I totally hear what you're saying. You're very insightful. But do you know what you can do is when you pull up your Outlook, you have an option to use a signature block or not. And actually, I have multiple signature blocks, right? I have a signature block that goes externally if I'm doing consulting. I have one for students. I have one for, my summer and stuff. So I have multiple ones depending on my audience even. So that's the level. So I agree with you, right? You don't want to have a signature block of 20 things. Absolutely not, right? That doesn't make much sense. Because really the reason why we have a signature block is to convey obviously professionalism, but also to make actually getting back to you easier. That's how I use it. If you look at my signature block, it's pretty simple. I usually have my name, my title, and like my email address. And if I'm going to like Europe or some other sort of cultures, I'll even put my physical address because that's what they do culturally, right? But otherwise, like I really do tailor that for my audience. But that's a great point. Really spot on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Ellie.
In that block, we should be using our preferred names, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Great. The question was, should you use your preferred names? And totally. Of course. This is another place where you can put, your preferred pronouns. Totally fits there. Okay. That's where you're going to sort of say, okay, look, this is how I want you to address me. Remember, your mentors are not mind readers. I'm not a mind reader. If I called you by the wrong gender, then tell me. Okay. Tell me. My goodness, please. Anyway, okay, enough of that. Any questions? Cool. These are where I borrowed heavily, okay? I'll send this or we'll post these slides so you have them. But if you want to kind of drill down more, here's all the information. You can go drill down, okay? Cool, so what's next? Register, email me you want a mentor. That's it. That's what's next if you want to be part of the Hawk Tank Mentor Program. Doesn't matter if you're in the recent alumni track. Doesn't matter if you're San Juan College, Fort Lewis College, high school track. Register, send me an email. We'll get the ball rolling. Okay? Any questions, y'all? Ellie?
Right now, too soon to send that.
No, send it right now. Heck yeah. I'll start it on Friday, tomorrow. No better time than now. Absolutely.
Follow-up question. When you say you're going to post those slides, where can we find them?
Great question. You can find all of this material at fortlewis.edu/Hawk or sanjuancollege.edu/Hawk. You'll come up to the webpage, okay? And you'll see the calendar of events, okay? And under the calendar of events, you'll have all the videos. So if you want to go back and review them, it'll have handouts, it'll have slides, and so that's where you'll go. Okay, cool, great question. Anything else, y'all? Okay, well, once again, I'd love to thank our presenting sponsors, Baird Private Wealth Management, as well as Four Corners Innovation. And of course, we'd love to thank Swan Global Investments for being sponsors of the entire workshop series. So thank you all. I look forward to next week's workshop. Please be on the lookout for all that information, and don't hesitate to reach out to me about anything. Have a great night. Thank you all.